can you talk about your experience as a scout and when you're tasked with going to see some prospects, how do you evaluate those players?
Well, first of all, scouting forever changed how I instruct. Like it forever changed it because you start realizing like how bodies move or things that play at a high level, from the baseball side. So you start learning things about like identifying player characteristics from things like tools, which is hitting, throwing, running, power, you know, the ability to play defense. Those are all tool sets. And when I look at a player, usually I'll start operating in a part where you have maybe the tools, role, wrist, makeup, and then stats. So when I would look at a pro player, we'd identify what the tools were, and that would usually lead to what kind of role, and then if there's risk, what kind of makeup, and then stats to confirm with that. And so when I'm looking at a softball player, it's the same thing. Like what tools play at this level. And when I first started in softball, I didn't know what a Pac-12 or SEC or high-level pitcher or player looked like. So I literally would get in my car every time someone said a really good player or team or high-level players played, and I would literally drive and watch them play. Because you want to know what it takes to play at the big league, go watch the big leaguers. And so
Right.
I went and watched the best players in college that I could find, and then I started saying, okay, all right, I got an idea of what may play in the big leagues. Now I start understanding like what may work in the college level. And
Mhm.
so the way I work in my brain is that every kid we work with, most of our kids want to play high level ball, but if they wanted to go to high school and make their team to being an All-American, the process is that, is this swing going to work at the Pac-12 or in the SEC when you're facing a good arm in the World Series? And usually that piece is kind of how we look at things based on, growing their development. But scouting part changed that. And so the first thing you want to identify with a player is like, what kind of tools do they have? And if they don't have a lot of tools, then you better put a bunch of plus marks in the makeup and the intangibles category.
Mhm.
Because without those, like you run around on the field with some of the teams at the World Series, there are a lot of tools running around out there. And if
Yeah.
you don't have those, you better have some of those other things that can make up for